but yeah, I mean, really, it comes down right now. It comes down to what their goals, what your goals are as a home buyer. If you're going to be in there short term, then maybe still variable is the way to look at it, because your penalty is going to be minimized.
Right.
A 3-month interest. Whereas if you're planning on being in it long term, date the rate, marry the home, get into it, look at a shorter term fixed for that stability. If you're worried about any Bank of Canada changes or what might happen over the year, and go just get in that 2-3 year and not that 5.
That's going to be that's got to be the name of this episode. Date the rate, marry the home.
Date the rate, marry the home. It's about understanding the product.
You're listening to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast with your hosts, Paul Stevenson, David Warren, and Greg Campbell. Let's see what's going on in the world of real estate today.
Yes. What's up, everybody? This is it's January 16th, 2023. We are back again as usual for all our listeners, all our viewers, all our listeners. Tuesday at 10 a.m. launch on YouTube and all other podcast streaming channels. My name is Greg Campbell. I'm a realtor managing director at the agency Ottawa. I'm joined with Paul Stevenson, mortgage agent broadcasting live from Colombia. What city are you in, Paul?
Currently in Cartagena on the coast.
Cartagena, okay.
Looking over the Caribbean Sea.
Oh, well, too bad for you. And we also have David Warren with Referral Mortgagers, mortgage agent and owner, and amazing David Warren. He's at home today. I've never seen his living room. It's kind of exciting. I think our viewers might be happy to see that. Dave. What do you think about that? I don't know. We got some great info. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
I was going to say it's gloomy to be back from sunny Florida into this shitstorm of snow.
I know,
ridiculous.
Max and Irina were in Costa Rica, and they landed on like the day that it was all crazy snowstorm in Montreal. I can't even imagine coming from that to that. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the city, and we have a very special guest, Brianna Frith from Endhome. We'll talk a lot about Endhome. I'm sure many of you do not know what that is, but it's a very cool business and something that she started. So we'll get to that in a minute. Gentlemen, the market. What are you guys seeing? Mortgages, what are you feeling?
So I personally have been hearing from a number of, Paul, I've been hearing from a number of my agents. They've been getting a lot of accepted offers this past week, and a lot of action in that regard. From any of the coaching or anything, kind of communicated with them that they're starting to see them come in and people being more comfortable with, just rates where they are at. But I don't know if, Paul, you're seeing the same thing, but.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about my prediction from last week. I think that, like you said, I think a lot of people were sitting on the sidelines last year. Now everyone's kind of come to terms with the rates where they're at. They're adjusting accordingly as far as the cost for their mortgage payments and so on. And I've seen the same thing. I've seen more people that were pre-approved last year that are now starting to pull the trigger. And we see that every January. Over the holidays, everyone kind of dials it down, which I think is the best time to buy. My last 2 homes I bought during the holidays. But I think going into the new year, people set their goals and they start to take action. And I think we've started to see that early in the year here.
I agree. I posted on my Instagram last week that there was a property that had come out. Actually, you know what? I should have followed up to see if it sold. They had 15 showings over the first 2 days. I also know one that was it had 15 offers. It was listed below market. This one in Applewood Acres, Elmvale, just around that area, and it was listed at $499,900. It was a detached, older 1960s bungalow style, but they got 15 offers and it sold for $555,000, which is what we figured it was worth. So they got a $555,000, no conditions. So it shows that regardless of what we're hearing in the media and reading in the news, there are still buyers out there. Ottawa is hot. I'm anxious to see where it goes. I posted up in our Ottawa Real Estate 2.0 group on Facebook asking where agents felt the market was going to be, and they all say they all feel that it's going to be very busy. The buyers are coming out. It won't be as aggressive as it was the past 2 years, obviously, but there's going to be competition. So I think it'll be interesting to see where more situations like that, if there are multiple offers, if it only sells for like, 10, 15,000 over list price when it's listed competitively. But the sellers, I know they're coming out.
I think over the next couple of weeks, it's going to be telling. This 2 weeks. Tomorrow, I believe, is the inflation announcement, where StatsCan will announce where inflation's been at this past quarter. So we'll see whether that changes, and if that is stagnant or decreases, then we can assume that Bank of Canada will hold rates on the 27th. Status quo. But if it is up, then then the rate announcement next week might tick up. So I think tomorrow's announcement on Tuesday the 17th will be telling. And if things stay the same, if rates stay status quo, or and they don't make any change and inflation is down, I think we'll see buyers coming back because there'll be more confidence in the market that their rates are not going to be as impacted, that continuous rate increase will have ceased.
Can you guys? Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
What was the last announcement they had about inflation? We were still sitting high sixes, correct? Or what was
I believe it was 6.8.
Yeah, I'm concerned mostly about everyone that bought in 2018, 2019 that are coming up for renewals. I think we're going to see those people are going to have to probably restructure, either extending their amortization. I know a lot of people that were in like the non-traditional variable rate, so adjustable rate mortgages, have really not seen, they have seen their payments increase. The people that are in true variable rates, that haven't seen their payments go up, they're probably going to have the biggest sticker shock, because when it comes time for renewal and that payment has gone up, $400, $500, or they have to make that lump sum, I think that's going to be a big hit for a lot of people. So inflation aside, I think this will be a very interesting year, but I stick by my prediction.
Yeah, I stick by mine too, my predictions. Mm-hmm. And what do you guys think? I just have a comment, because I mentioned something on another post that I did, and someone jumped in about fixed rates, fixed rates being down. Everyone's still talking variable, but people are forgetting, fixed rates are down a bit. So are you finding that more people, or are you trying to promote fixed more right now? Are the rates actually, like, even if it goes up tomorrow or whatever, are fixed rates a better bet right now?
Right now, fixed rates are lower on the insured 5-year fixed, and as well 3 and 4. They're in the high 4s. They've come down. They definitely have come down since their June high, where insured rates were in the mid 5s. So they've come down pretty dramatically, and by dramatically I mean 0.75% basically. And that's because the bonds have come down as well since their high in June. I find people really looking at the 2 and 3 year fix, not 5-year. I'm not getting many requests there. And that's all just a sentiment from buyers and people that are, reading a lot about where rates are at and about the economy that might not have been doing so before, that are realizing that this is, we're going to come into this period of time, but it isn't going to last. And they do know and feel that, and every economist, every bank, and is indicating, and even the Bank of Canada, that as soon as inflation starts coming down and getting under control, that the bonds will be coming down and Bank of Canada will be dropping. And so in that 2 to 3 year time frame, instead of locking in for a 5-year, is a good hedge. And so certainly getting a lot of requests in that realm. But yeah, I mean, really, it comes down to what their goals, what your goals are as a home buyer. If you're going to be in there short term, then maybe still variable is the way to look at it, because your penalty is going to be minimized.
Right.
A 3-month interest. Whereas if you're planning on being it long term, date the rate, marry the home, get into it, look at a shorter term fixed for that stability. If you're worried about any Bank of Canada changes or what might happen over the year, and go and just get in that 2-3 year and not that 5.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be that's got to be the name of this episode. Date the rate, marry the home.
Date the rate, marry the home. It's about it's about understanding the product, right? Understanding the product, what you're buying, why you're doing it, the mortgage, like what it looks like. Yeah.
And what your overall goals are.
I had a client this week that was completely adamant about being fixed. Didn't even want to hear about variable, which, if that's what they wanted to do, that was no problem with me. But we were looking at for 25-year amortization, they were putting over 20%. So we were looking at a 25-year AM, 5-year fixed was sitting at that time at 4.84, and the 2-year fixed, I think, was at 5.74. So I kind of did the calculations on that. And then they said, well, we just want our payments to be as low as possible. So why don't we look at a 30-year amortization? So when I did the calculation of the 5-year fixed for 25 years and 30 years, over the 5 years, they would have saved $5,000 in payments, but the amount of interest, and at 30 years, they wanted to do an appraisal, and there was plus. The net difference was an increase of $30,000 after payments and interest and, principal pay down and everything else. So, yes, you save $5,000 in payments, but you're paying an additional, $25,000.
Did Paul just disappear?
And he's gone.
He's gone. He's gone. Okay, listen, let's get into stats quickly. I did a snapshot of Orleans over the last 4 weeks, year over year. Oh, here he comes. He's coming back. Anyways, let's jump into the stats. Paul can catch on. Are you ready for it? There we go. Yeah, Paul, we're just saying thank you for the comment. I'm glad you came back so quickly. We're going to jump into the stats I got for Orleans.
All right.
Okay.
My story, you get the ending.
That's we understand. You were at the end anyways. You were so excited that you just had to drop the mic. Peace out. All right. So for Orleans, guys, over the last 4 weeks, 4 weeks ending January 15th, in terms of detached homes, we've got 67 active with an average of 83 days on the market. $795K is the average list price. We have 10 conditionally sold, averaging 93 days on market. That's crazy. That's 3 months basic. Well, it is 3 months. 783 is the average price. For sold, we have 22 sold in the last week, 70 days on market at an average price of $746,000. So look at the difference between active, conditionally sold, and what's sold. And in 2022, same time, 27 sold, 32 days on market at an average price of $735K. So we're 11,000 difference on last year. So like, again, what we've been seeing ever since I started doing these stats is we're very close to last year, other than the amount of days on market. Let's get into the townhomes and semis. Towns and semis, we have 44 active, 62 days on market, average price of $622,000. We have 4 conditionally sold, averaging 133 days on market at an average price of $541. So that's a little skewed. There was one in there that just kind of didn't connect with the other ones, but that's okay. This is the active, the real data here. We had 15 sold, averaging 70 days on market at $576. Now this is crazy. Same time last year, 30 sold, 12 days on market at an average price of $643. So this was last year at this time was when it started to get really crazy, especially for townhomes. Mm-hmm. It was wild. That's a big difference. I mean, the comparison of what sold versus what sold last year, we're like 50,000 off. Let's get into the condos here. Condos, Orleans, we've got 24 active, averaging 2 months on market. 470,000 is the average price. Conditionally sold, 5, 69 days on market, an average price of 421. So that's down again versus the active. Sold, we had 15 sold at 84 days on market, average price of 363. Blows my mind. And then last year, same time, 17 sold, 25 days on market, 374. So condos are, it's actually a little bit less based on this. Now the active ones at 470, how long are those going to sit? What's going to happen? I think they're going to sell, but they might sell closer to that, 450 or less. Rentals. Let's get into the rentals here. 80 active rentals in Orleans, averaging 39 days on market. Average price is $2,438. 53 rented, averaging 38 days on market. So very similar active versus rented. 2,312 is the average price. Same time last year, 36 rented, 36 days on market, $2,142. So we're seeing the rental price come back down versus what it was, in the summer, early fall. The prices were probably about $200 a month more. And now they're coming back down to where they were last year. I think that $2,300 point for rentals is pretty accurate. And I don't know how much more it'll dip for, overall rentals in the market in the suburbs. I think that's a solid number. And anywhere that 2,200 to 2,300. So that is that. What do you guys think about that?
I think it'll be interesting to see by the end of February what happens with the market in Ottawa, the prices, because February last year, I think it was like a 17% gain in February or something ridiculous. Like that's basically what, ended our year off in a positive from an appreciation standpoint, not a negative, was that January, February run up. So I'm curious to see in the coming weeks how that, month, year by year comparison plays out.
I'm still big on our increase this year.
Yeah. I agree. I'm standing firm on it. I
can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see the some of the comments. All look at those greedy realtors and mortgage brokers, optimistic.
If they just say it, if they just say it, it'll happen. Apparently.
Yeah. Manifest.
There was someone who made a comment with their own predictions last week, and they had some bullet points as to the various reasons why they thought that. We don't necessarily need to go through all the reasons, but I thought they were all fairly, definitely valid points that will impact the market. It's how they'll impact the market that's the question. But their prediction was something like
it was a 17% decrease for Canada, 13 to 17%, I think, for Canada, which is fair. I mean, it's possible based on Canadian economy, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to dip that much.
No.
Yeah. Maybe a 5% overall for Canada, but I think Ottawa's going to be up. Okay, you guys ready?
Let's do it.
You've been sitting there waiting for us for the last 30 minutes. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring on Brianna Frith. She started out as a mortgage agent in this industry, moved on to business development managing for private lending, went into law as a business development manager for a couple of years, which kind of catapulted her into her current company that she founded and is the president of. It's called Endhome. You can check it out at Endhome.ca. It's consulting and closing services. I'll break it down a bit here quickly. Endhome houses a group of legal professionals who are backed by 30 years of real estate experience in a position to either make or break the closing process. Our lawyers are unequivocally committed to transforming the industry by leveraging technology, prioritizing client care while going above and beyond to set the benchmark for others to follow. So Brianna, thank you for being on the show. I hope the intro was okay. Why don't you just tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll just get right into what Endhome does.
Thank you, Greg, and thank you, gentlemen, for having me on your podcast. Thank you for the intro as well. It was amazing. So for those who don't already know me or are not familiar with Endhome, Greg is correct. I did start as a mortgage agent. That was my first step into getting my feet wet in the real estate landscape. And what it did was it really helped me generate many relationships and build my network and find my passion for helping homeowners in general with their problems and giving them that solution. And then what I found myself doing was finding an interest in getting the funds directly to them as opposed to working in an agent role. So what I did there was I gained experience at a private investment corporation. And in that sense, I basically was the one handing out the money. So I got experience from having all the solutions on the table to the client to actually giving the cash in the hand. And then I found another solution, which was even more desirable for especially mortgage agents and real estate professionals, which was giving them a legal closing experience that was predicated and actually took into consideration their concerns as a professional in the field and as well as their clients. So from being a mortgage agent to working at a MIC to working at a real estate legal practice, I ended up developing and controlling and directing their department there for almost 2.5 years, where I made such big growth. I recognized that I wanted to do this on a much larger scale. And I knew that it would take a lot of structure. I knew that it would take a lot of talented individuals to really make this dream a reality. But while I was directing the real estate department, I noticed a lot of inefficiencies and I noticed a lot of gaps. And I realized lawyers go to school to be a lawyer, right? They go to law school. They don't necessarily understand the expertise of communication, of business development, of what clients are really looking for, client care. And yes, that's why you hire clerks and you hire admin. But at Endhome, we actually don't have any clerks. We believe in one-on-one lawyer to client ratio. That way we don't spread our lawyers too thin. We can definitely guarantee quality control there and scale faster as well. So jumping into Endhome, we founded that in June 2022. It is still a recent company, but I am blown away at the success that we've had so far. We've been very grateful to have many people in the broker and real estate community come to us because whatever the case is, whether it was over the holidays, you know, their lawyers were out on vacation or whoever they usually go to wasn't able to actually help at that moment. So they gave us a call and we're able to grow and scale up our practice as well, just by helping their clients in tight situations, doing those rush closings. No deal is cookie cutter anymore anyways in the real estate legal industry. So it really helps to be that hero, I guess, that kind of takes those deals in and finds a home for them within hours, because that's what we do. So jumping into Endhome, we really wanted to be different. We wanted to transform and reverse any negative stigma in the real estate or legal world for that matter. Working with real estate lawyers, a lot of the times people have this idea that they're just out to get their money. They're out to double charge, you know, charge all these disbursements and all these hidden costs, as well as, you know, hardly answer the phone because they're busy handling other transactions. So I was literally sitting down in my room. I remember like writing down all these pain points before opening Endhome and seeing, okay, how can I like reverse this as quick as possible, but also as efficient as possible. And so what I did was I ended up cultivating a large team of lawyers over a period of time who all have more than 10 years of experience, which really helps give our clients that extra layer of security. And also for lawyers to be in the game that long, that means they're complying with the Law Society of Ontario very well, which we take very seriously. So for us, it was very fun trying to pile this group of lawyers together, but also very tedious because we want to make sure they align with all of our values and that they are able to complement brokers and real estate professionals. Because if a lawyer doesn't understand things like broker fees, letter of directions, stuff that matter to you, they could be very simple and little, but they can make a huge difference in how the transaction goes as a whole. That was our top priority. So now we operate in Ontario, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, and Alberta. And virtually we can do a transaction anywhere in Canada. What we do is we facilitate everything on our platform, on our website. And we have a form that takes 2 minutes to complete. So anyone, whether it's the real estate professional, the homeowner, they could go onto our website, submit the form, and within 2 business hours, they're guaranteed to have a lawyer, basically match made for them. And they would receive an email with a letter confirming the lawyer's details, and the client would receive a phone call within those 2 business hours directly from that lawyer. So the lawyer still has full autonomy on the deal. Endhome is basically that middle matchmaker. And I actually like, as an analogy, putting it as insurance. Have you ever had insurance on your real estate closing? No, obviously not, but Endhome is as close as it gets, because what I do is I handhold the deal from start to finish, and we personalize and customize our closings, and we structured it around a partnership. So when we look at doing business with an agent, we sit down and we ask them, okay, what's your business model? What are really important to your clients? Do you do mostly reverse mortgages? If you do, your clients are most likely going to be elderly and need a little bit more hand-holding. Do you do more pre-construction? Okay, well then you're going to need a lawyer that can do a new build review within 4 or 5 days. Do you do mostly condo purchases? Okay, you're going to need a status certificate lawyer that can do that in a day or two. So really just customizing and personalizing is what we're best at, and in providing that insurance to make sure that that lawyer is held accountable from start to finish. So I know I rambled quite a lot, and there's so much more to get to about Endhome, but I hope that was a good icebreaker.
Well, that was, yeah, that's kind of like you said the whole thing there. And now it's just questions, and now it's just questions. That's pretty incredible. I think that it's amazing just to, you know, meet somebody that took something that I don't think anyone's thought about that, and you took it, and now it's growing, and you're the one that did it.
The first of its kind.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I've never heard of this before. So when you reached out, I was like, wow, this is like, it's pretty interesting. I'd like to know more. So now the process is, so you work out of a couple provinces. So basically, like you said, people they'll log on, they'll give you the information about what they're dealing with, and then based on that criteria, you appoint them a lawyer, and then they call them who's specialized in that industry.
Exactly. Yes. So it's not there's one lawyer for every single type of deal, whether it's ILA, condo purchase, refinance, wills and estate planning. we literally have a lawyer for every niche that is an expert at that. So that gives your clients that comfort level, and you as the broker, because you know they're in good hands. And there's no clerk in the middle kind of doing 80% of the work and having things kind of fall under the bus. So we really hone in on how to concentrate on quality control, just so everyone's happy, everyone knows what is what. And also the professionals that we're appointing are experts. And that really helps, because I believe there are niches within the niche of real estate, right? Yeah.
And do the rates change at all for different types of transactions, or you have like a flat fee kind of thing?
We definitely have a flat fee. And so that's another pain point I realized. Getting that done price from a lawyer from the onset is really hard to kind of pull out of them. Like, no, not the base fee. What am I what do I need to put in the financing? What is my client actually going to pay? Whether they're consolidating debt or whatever, they don't want to pay as much in legal fees if they can save. So what we do is we have a flat fee that all of our lawyers have to use. So any lawyer through Endhome is going to charge the same. So it's consistent at least. And our pricing is very affordable. So we charge $11.49 for a purchase, all in. The only additional cost is title insurance and HST, and of course, land transfer tax and all that other fun stuff. And then a refinance is $8.99 all in as well. Same thing. Title insurance is extra, but at least it gives that surety to the client and to the broker. Hey, there's no, disbursements that are going to be expensive surprises at the end, such as photocopying, faxing, courier, all these little things that really you don't need to be billing the client for, because you're not really out of pocket for it. So really, we concentrate on volume. That way, we don't have to gouge one client, because we know we're going to be getting so many more deals down that line. We're not concentrating on taking as much from one versus how many other are out there. And that's our perspective on it. So we really want to help Canadians save as much on their legal costs. But at the same time, you need quality. And so it's definitely not something that's going to be free completely, but it's as close as you can get to affordable, right? A lot of clients, they want their brokers, surprisingly, it's happening more and more now. They want their brokers to cut down their commission or whatever it is to kind of get more back. And they did a lot of work to kind of get that deal solid in the first place. And same with lawyers, we're their first line of defense. We really are. We are the one that protects their interests, that looks through all the documents, that explains all of the financials to them. And if they're a first-time home buyer, we spend almost twice as much time with them, just going over all the questions they have and stuff. So your lawyer is someone you want to take time and diligence to really pick and choose.
So you're just setting this up for like super high level customer service experience.
Yes, that is my expectation. I think it's possible. You can get that in the legal realm, I'm convinced, and that's my mission here. Yeah.
And so I think something that a lot of some people have gone through it, listeners that have purchased homes have seen it, but those that might not have, it is really, like you said, those disbursements that really add up for clients. They're quoted a price for those legal fees or legal services, and they're typically $1,000 or $1,200, and then it's plus disbursements, and those disbursements typically add up to being an additional anywhere from $5,000 to $1,000 in some cases on a residential purchase. So certainly the fees that the flat fee model that you're offering is very interesting, and I think people really should, when looking at getting quoted for legal services. Obviously, as you said, quality is paramount, because having a lawyer that does drop the ball is not something you're looking for. But also, like, comparing apples to apples, like looking at, okay, what's that, not the base fee for that lawyer, but what's the what are the additionals, what can they expect there in comparison? So
and I can imagine, like you said, like just shopping that flat fee. I imagine for you it was a little bit easier because you probably had a ton of contacts already that you were working with, that you were looking for to start when you started Endhome and everything. But yeah, I can imagine that was a bit tricky. But good for you.
Because lawyers definitely want to make as much as they can, and you really have to, when you're working alongside them, help them look at the long term and not the short game, right? So building a book of business or building a network or a large criteria of clientele over time will amount to something that is immeasurable in the short term. You don't want to ever put all of your eggs in one basket and, put all of this pressure on one client to pay a certain amount of money that's not needed if you don't have to. So yeah, we really want to be fair and reasonable and make our clients feel as confident as they possibly can in their lawyer.
And are you guys expanding already? Sorry, Paul, go ahead.
It's kind of on the same line. I was wondering, like, how many total lawyers do you have on the team now? And on the flip side of that, like, as a lawyer on your team, because most lawyers are paid based on the, you know, they basically get what they hunt for, right? They're bringing in their own clients typically, and they're getting compensated for that. Are you basically taking all the leads in yourself and then distributing them to lawyers equally, or are the lawyers actually going out and trying to find their own clients within your team?
Great question. So right now we have a total of 17 law firms with us, partnered with us. And just as a disclaimer, so we only partner with principal lawyers. So we have no associate lawyers at Endhome, which means we're talking directly to the owners of the firms, and they are the only people that touch the deal. So we are looking to expand definitely and be across Canada. But the lawyers that we have, I basically appoint them, and I personally matchmake and personalize every transaction. So, for example, if we get 20 deals within the week and we have 17 lawyers, maybe 4 of those lawyers will get all of those 20 deals because their niches just so happen to overlap with those types of deals that we get, right? So it really needs to be subjective and all about the client and all about the transaction, not so much about the lawyer working under Endhome. Obviously, we have our own separate contracts internally, but it's important to understand, like, we matchmake. So that has to be about the client at all times. It really has to be the best fit, whether it's geography, like location. Obviously, pricing is always going to be the same, but just even as far as things as software. So some lawyers use Lawyer Done Deals, some use Unity, and those alone can be up to $300, just that charge for that software. So our lawyers don't use those softwares to save clients even more money, right? So what they do is they have other softwares that they use to save more money and to be more efficient. But we really want to just concentrate on efficiency. That's like our main thing here, making sure every transaction goes smoothly. So when we get a deal in the door, we're looking at the broker, we're looking at the client, the area, when is the closing date too, right? Because if this is a rush file, we want to give it to a lawyer that has enough capacity to handle that with no issues. So it's just really case by case, subjective. Yeah.
So how much have you grown since you started in June?
Crazy. We started Ontario and BC in June, and now we are in Saskatchewan and Alberta on top of that. And we also have lawyers in other provinces, but we're not actually open there. So we don't have an office, or we don't have an actual large base of network in our clientele base. So we don't have, let's say, over 50 different brokers or realtors to help out there. And so I think that's going to be the driver of our business, like how we connect with these agents and figure out what their pain points are, because we really want to be partner centric. We want to be we want to account for what you guys see in your day-to-day lives. And so being on top of the industry trends, the market trends, what's happening, and what innovation looks like in your industry really overlaps with the legal industry as well. So for us to penetrate those other markets, we don't just want to jump right in unless it makes sense and we have the community to help. So I think as we grow and as we make more relationships, we'll definitely be Canada-wide. But if there are deals that come in, we can definitely find a home for them. So
and through the process, Brianna. So let's say client fills out that, or realtor or mortgage broker fills out that form. Their client's connected with a lawyer within a couple hours. Who as a broker, we send, as soon as we get a signed commitment, I'm sending an intro to that lawyer of here's the commitment, here's ID, here's void check, here's, everything like that. I'm the one working on the file. Is Endhome middlemaning that, or is it going direct to the lawyer? Like, what's that process look like?
I love that you asked that. That's a real life question from a professional. So our process is so streamlined and predictable that it's almost like exactly your question, like where do I start, right? And so you can start anywhere, even before a commitment is signed. Maybe your client doesn't have a lawyer and you just want a lawyer name or a lawyer address. Send that application in. we'll give you the lawyer right away. We'll send you a letter confirming the lawyer for the transaction. The lawyer will, and there's also notes in the form. So let's say you wanted to tell me that it wasn't signed yet, or hold off on contacting my client for 2 days, whatever you wanted to let us know, you put in the notes. Or you can even upload documents onto that form. So let's say you have a commitment that is signed, or a waiver, an APS. You can upload that to the form. That way we have everything together. Once we receive that package, we'll acknowledge whatever notes are there, and that lawyer will reach out to you and the client. And at that point, you can send all of the extra documents to the lawyer. And most of the times, brokers like to do most of the hand-holding for the clients to kind of give their clients more of a hands-off experience so that they don't have to worry about redundant things like re-providing their ID or re-providing documents that they already gave to you. So you'll just give us whatever documents you have on hand. But if you need more time, like let's say you don't really have everything in order and you just need the lawyer's name, you can go onto our form, let us know that. And so we'll take the right steps and follow up with you whenever it suits you best. But generally our process is send in that form. Brianna actually personally reaches out to you and confirms that I've received it. And then our office administrator does all of the back and forth with the lawyer, just basically connecting them to the client. That lawyer reaches out directly to the client on the phone. We always believe in phone calls. That's the best way to go. If we miss the client, we'll leave a voicemail, follow up via email. But just to make sure the client hears the lawyer's tone of voice, they build that rapport, they're comfortable. If they have any questions, they can get it off their chest right away. And then you on your end, at least you have the lawyer's name, so you can include that in your instructions, right? And let the lender know who is who, and get all your ducks in a row as well, right? Because everyone has their own pre-existing processes. And so we are made, and our model is already structured for you to plug in and play, right? For you to just integrate with us. We're built already for that to be a possibility. So yeah, that form is very self-explanatory, very easy to use, and we're on it within 2 business hours.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. I feel like we're going to have to do some business.
Thank you. I hope so. That would be awesome. Give it a little test drive. Yeah, for sure.
So, on the flip side of things, Brianna, then if there are law firms that, because a lot of the people that listen to the show are industry professionals, so realtors, real estate lawyers, mortgage agents. If you're looking to expand, would it be beneficial as well for law firm owners to reach out to you directly, or how do you see that working on that side of the business?
Yes, so definitely we get that a lot. We do get lawyers reaching out to us very commonly, and we have an interviewing process, so we're always happy to expand, especially if that lawyer is in a different province. We're really excited to kind of get to know them and see where we fit. But they're more than happy to reach out directly to me, and then I'll take it from there and go forward with our initial interviewing process. And if it makes sense and they're ready to hop on board, then they would basically be partnered with us, and we would basically be able to help them grow their business as long as it's a fit and as long as they're aligned with our values.
Of course.
And where do you find that most of your business is coming from? Is it like online, referral, word of mouth kind of thing, or where you
most of our business is coming from referral partners. So because clients financially invest in front of their broker, whether it's their realtor or the mortgage agent, they end up getting really comfortable and they trust them. And whether it's a lawyer or a home inspector or an appraiser, if they need anything, they're going to go to them directly. And so we recognize that, but on the same time, we understand that that broker has a business to run and they're not on salary, right? So they really survive off of the closing of a transaction, and they need a lawyer who's not going to drop the ball and actually close it. So with us, we basically structure all of our partnerships to be really close-knit with these brokers and agents, so we can get to know them, get to know their clients and their business, and basically work with them alongside them. So yeah, our business, most of it comes from mortgage.
Yeah, from the people that you connected with starting the company and everything. So realtors, brokers, and everything. That's great. It makes total sense. Even
accountants, or even financial advisors, people that need wills and estate plannings, because we also offer that, right? So yeah, all around, it comes from everywhere, every direction.
Okay, so I think we're good, boys. Do you have any other questions, or?
No, I think it's great. I think the business that you built and that model, I think is fantastic, and a lot of like you mentioned, that flat fee, the transparency around it. without, hidden additionals and things like that, especially for first time home buyers, like you said, they're not surprised. They're able to budget accordingly because, as we talked about before at the beginning of the show, prices are, they might be down a little bit, but they're still pretty high, and the down payment required is high, and closing costs add up. And so having that, $1,000 savings, $1,500 savings is great for people's bottom line, for sure.
I was going to say too, with everything becoming more and more automated, it's great and nice to hear that your business is focused around the client experience and actually reaching out to them, a human being reaching out to them within 2 hours and having a conversation. Because I think, the more and more things become automated, the less and less personal connection there's going to be. So I like that is a main focus of
part of it. Yeah.
So maybe in closing, Brianna, if you can tell our listeners where to find you on socials, online, and on LinkedIn and so on.
Thank you. So you can follow me on LinkedIn at Brianna Frith, and you can find me on Instagram at Realty with Bree. And then we also have an Instagram for Endhome, which is Endhome.ca. And then, of course, on our website, the form that I was referring to earlier, and we also have a blog with lots of helpful information, you can find at Endhome.ca. And then my email is Brianna@Endhome.ca.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's great.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for. I'm happy that we connected on LinkedIn. We're happy to have you on the show. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much. Take care.
All right.
Thanks, Brianna.
Okay, so gentlemen, mood boost. You got them?
I got a few.
Hit it.
So Brianna, I know Brianna's no longer with us, but we basically at the end of every show we throw out a couple mood boosts just to lift everyone's mood for the week. So I got 3 today. Number 1. Did you hear about the dad who burned the Hawaiian pizza? He should have put it on aloha temperature. Aloha temperature.
Oh, wow.
You guys know I'm a bowling fan. Number 2, the only thing I love more than bowling is bowling jokes. So I love bowling jokes. They're right up my alley.
Wow.
And last but not least, this is my favorite. Why didn't the green pepper join archery? Because it didn't have an arrow.
Wow. Holy
mackerel.
Wow. All right.
So this was very makeshift. I feel like next week we'll be all stationed. Good. We'll be back to the basics, but it's good to have everyone back. Good to have what did someone say in the comments? Good to have the band back together.
Yeah, the band back together. And I'm excited to be doing this from Mexico as well for as long as I'm going to be there. Picking up the USB mic, and I'm actually going to record my my new agent field manual videos down there. I decided, as opposed to them in Ottawa. So I'm looking forward to it and actually working from down there.
That's great.
So anyways, whoever's still listening, like, share, subscribe, comment, love us. We love you. We're here to help. If you have any questions or comments, do what you do. Leave them leave them below. Make those comments. We will comment back. And that's it. That's it for now. I guess we're out of here.
Next time.
The Ottawa Real Estate Podcast, episode 115. Peace.
Deuces.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe because we'd really like that.